I've done a lot in my life, too, you know. That wasn't the only thing I ever did was train horses. I got a degree from college, and I flew airplanes when I was training horses. I ran the burglary division for 2 years in New Orleans, and prior to that, I worked robbery, burglary, homicide, and narcotics. I competed in quarter horse shows, and then I ran in match races in the bush tracks and around Lafayette. Sometimes if you won, you'd have to fight to get your money. Didn't do very well with the quarter horses, so I just let it go. And then at one time or another, just before I left, I bought a horse called House Seats from J.R. Smith, and he went ahead and won like 8 races for me, and he did very well for me. And I fell in love with the thoroughbreds, so it was thoroughbreds. I never worked for anybody else around horses. I rode and learned. There's a lot to it. When you can ride and learn with your feet off the ground and in the saddle. I rode every day just like Lucas, but I mean, I come up a little short and Lucas kept on going. It came to the point where my health was affecting my business, so I just let it go and turned the horses over to other people. I've done a lot of things and won a lot of races, and thankfully I had a big stable right up until the end. I think at least 24 horses.
Looking at your graded stakes wins, which there is a bunch, and is there one you're most proud of?
No, I try to stay away from that. But one thing I did do, we did beat Swale at Keeneland. Believe it or not, I was proud every time I won a race. There was something in it that I loved. I got as much of a kick out of winning a $5,000 claiming race as I did a $500,000 race.
You went on at least 22 more years than you had originally counted on.
I loved horses. I always loved them, even as a young man. And I just couldn't get them out of my system. That's all. I just fell in love with them. I saw that I had such a long-lasting career. I didn't plan on it being that long. Believe me, I had no plans of training horses up in my 80s. I was training horses before they had the stats. Lord knows how many races I really won, but I was always into it. I loved it, and it meant the world to me. It meant everything to me. I'll be honest with you, the thoroughbred business is now the sport of kings. Ron Hillerich and I got in as owners in Indiana. I never trained an Indiana bred. The horses I own with Ron now are trained by Genera Garcia. We just won a nice race. We got good brood mares. We've got Unbridled Express at stud in Indiana. I had his mother, and Ron and I bred him. He beat Street Sense in a maiden race at Churchill Downs. We turned down a lot of money for him, but one injury after another, we decided to go ahead and go with the Indiana program because he wasn't quite good enough to stand in Kentucky. He's been very, very good to us. His foals win races hand over fist. Yeah, the old-time trainers are hard to find, but they've got to have their help. That's the most important thing. I felt I couldn't do the job 24/7 because of my health, and I just hung it up and never said anything.